Welcome all. I'm Sarah Bumgardner with AAFMAA, the American Armed Forces Mutual Aid Association. Since 1879, we have been serving our military community. Our mission is to be the premier provider of financial solutions for the American Armed Forces. And as a director of partnership and member engagement, I talk with other nonprofit organizations about what they are doing to help service members, their families, veterans, and the military community at large. And today we're talking with Army Emergency Relief. I have Sean Ryan here, who is the Director of Communication and Marketing for Army Emergency Relief, AER, the only official nonprofit serving active duty Army soldiers, retirees, and their families. Prior to joining AER, Sean retired from the United States Army after serving 25 years, where he worked extensively in the public affairs and international communications fields. Sean, thank you so much for being here today and talking with us.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So can you kind of tell me, what is the mission of AER and how did you become a part of that mission as the Director of Communication and Marketing?
Sure. Army Emergency Relief started in 1942, and the mission was to help relieve financial distress on soldiers. And back during World War II, it's a little bit different. People owned farms and came from all different backgrounds. So, who's going to take over the family finances and how are they going to help? So that's kind of how it started. And then into today, we're over 81 years and over $2 billion since 9/11 we've handed out. Last year alone, we did around $56 million. That includes $13 million in college scholarships, which we can talk about later. But our motto is soldiers helping soldiers, and we wouldn't be here without the help of all the former soldiers that help donate, because we do not receive any donations from the U.S. government. So everything we have, how we can help soldiers, actually came from soldiers. So that's the great part about it.
That's awesome. And I love that saying, soldiers helping soldiers. That's exactly what this is helping those in need. And so when we talk about AER, is it just for active duty soldiers to receive that assistance?
It's for active duty soldiers and their families, but it's also for retired soldiers and their families as well. And then it also extends to wounded warriors. And then also, if any soldier, National Guard or Reserve comes on Title 10, then they can receive assistance as well. There's, some small details in there, but we cover the gamut of all those individuals.
Wow. So that's awesome. So anybody who might be, needing some financial assistance, if they're active duty, they could be a retiree, a veteran, or someone for their families, they can reach out to AER. So it's not just for that active duty component. And I think that that's wonderful that you open it up to, any soldier, right? No matter when you served or how you served, if you're in need of financial assistance. And you mentioned kind of earlier about, scholarships and kind of career assistance grant where you offer that. Can you tell me a little bit about that program and how does it work and who's eligible for it?
Sure. So Army Emergency Relief actually has over 30 categories. So the name kind of throws a little bit with emergency, because we've definitely morphed into a lot more than when we started in 1942. So we have a whole bunch of different categories that we can help soldiers with, because things change with time, and so we've adapted to that as well, and to try to help soldiers' needs. So the main thing that we help with right now is when soldiers PCS, then we can help with first and last month's rent if they have repairs to their vehicle. We offer grants. We offer zero interest loans. And so together, our answer is to try to get to yes to help out soldiers. And we've established a few new programs. The Army had some programs set up already. And so one of the transition programs that we have helps soldiers out when they get out of the Army. And as of today, it's basically anywhere from $500 to $2,000 to help with that transition. Maybe they need clothes for their new job, a suit or something like that. Maybe they're going into a field where they need tools, something of that nature. Then Army Emergency Relief will help get them, because the Army will release them the last 6 months to go pursue these things. And so we try to help them out with some type of monetary assistance.
That's great. And, you kind of hit on a couple of points that, AER, emergency relief, people kind of think of the, disaster relief or things like that, where you might need assistance, but you really do offer for a whole host of ways to be able to give monetary value to somebody who says, I've come into a financial crisis. And when you talk about the transition space, there is so much going on when someone transitions from the active duty component into the civilian side. So knowing that they can have a little buffer and say, I know I need to get a suit, or like you said, tools or something like that, they can come to AER and say, hey, I just need a little bit of help here. And it can come in the form of a grant, which doesn't have to be paid back, which is amazing.
Right.
So I think that's wonderful, and it's so needed. We were kind of talking a little bit earlier about the kind of financial climate of things, and food insecurities in the military, and things that these soldiers are experiencing, and to know that there's a place to go for help. And when talking about that, and we had been saying, one's mental health is directly tied, to one's financial health. And so AER is, serving, those members and understanding that. How do you do that better? What are some of the other kind of programs? I think you have like a financial literacy program. You can tell me about that.
Okay. So yeah, we understand that there's a stigma with some soldiers wanting to come in or to use their chain of command. And of course, we want them to use their chain of command. As a matter of fact, first sergeants and company commanders are authorized up to $2,000 under our quick assist program, and that can get paid almost instantly. But they can also come to any AER office, and we have 70 worldwide, without telling their chain of command. So if they feel that stigma, they're like, hey, I don't want them to know I'm having financial problems, which of course can lead to other issues sometimes as well. So we've introduced that to where soldiers can go directly to AER. They don't have to do that. And then we also have besides the career skills program that we mentioned, we started a financial literacy program provided by an amazing, generous donation from AUSA. And basically soldiers can get online and take a 25-minute quiz, or 25-question quiz, which takes around 40 minutes or so. If they score 80 or above, E4 and belows can get $500 off their current loan, and E5 and above can get $250 off their current loan. So it's probably as closest to free money as you're ever going to get. So we really recommend those soldiers with current loans that they take that. And, any financial literacy class will help you. So there's some modules out there that they can take that the Army provides as well, buying a house or buying a car or sending someone to college, that type of thing. So we're in line with the Army on trying to get this financial literacy out there.
Yeah, that's great. And, education is kind of one of the most powerful things you can give to somebody, is to educate them and how they can help themselves, right? So maybe getting a little bit of a loan, but then taking this quiz and getting up to $500 off on that loan that's of no interest anyways, and learning something in that, so that maybe you don't get in that situation again, right? And you get on better footing. And I think it's important too, and I like how you have offered and opened up this, so that if someone just doesn't feel comfortable going through their chain of command, they don't have to, even though they should feel that that's a safe place to go, but that there's still another way to do that. And you can do that at the armyemergencyrelief.org, and we'll make sure to drop that in the comments and in the of this, and we'll have that up there. And so we've got a question actually here that somebody has asked, if you can talk more about the commander and first sergeant's access to the funds for their troops.
Okay, sure. So say you have you need to get your car fixed, and it's a Monday morning, maybe you couldn't get into work, and you got people calling you saying, where are you at? You can say, hey, look, first sergeant or whatever, I'm having some car trouble. And you go in, you get an estimate, and you bring it to the first sergeant, and we definitely hope that they bring it to the first sergeant so they can see, hey, this is a good deal, or am I getting ripped off or whatever, because not every place out there is is friendly in those respects. But the first sergeant can take a look at it and say, yeah, that's about the right price. Maybe makes a few phone calls. And, in a couple of hours, that soldier can have a check up to $2,000 issued to them to get that car repair, as an example.
Wow, that's great. And it just shows you how quickly, going through command, right, can get you those funds really easily. So this is, what AAR is doing is really needed. And like you said, it's soldiers helping soldiers. So you are a nonprofit organization. I think sometimes people see or hear Army Emergency Relief and they think, oh, it's an extension of the Department of Defense in some way. And it's not. You're a nonprofit organization. It's soldiers helping soldiers, and you're doing that in a tremendous way. So I thank you for all the work that you're doing. And I thank you for sharing what AAR is doing and the initiatives that they have for all soldiers, right? Veterans and families.
And their families. And one thing I wanted to mention is we do anywhere from $9 to $13 million a year for scholarships for Army children and for spouses as well. So last year we did $9 million in children's scholarships and $4 million in spouse scholarships. So of course that number changes year to year, but we really urge folks to apply for that because the money's there, and if they can get help, it's not a free ride, or full ride, I should say, but you can get anywhere from $1,000 to $4,000 towards that semester, and you can get it for every semester that the spouse or the child attends school. So that's a big help for most parents.
That's a huge help. The cost of higher education is not inexpensive. So that is a really big help for the military spouse, which is wonderful, and as well as the children, which is great. So thank you for highlighting that. I really appreciate it. Did we miss anything in this conversation about what AAR is doing or how best to reach you all?
No, I mean, we can put up the website. That's usually the best way to look for information.
Yeah.
We also have information at all the 70 different locations, which falls under either ACS or MWR, depending on where you're at and what installation you're at. But like I said, 70 different installations. And the website we keep up to date all the time. We actually just produced our first 4 movies. One's a 5.5-minute version, and then there's a minute version of a couple other things that are very informative. So those are good for watching, and they're linked to YouTube as well off our website. So I would suggest people go there as well to find out more information.
Nice. Well, John, I thank you again so much for joining, for talking about what AAR is doing. And if there is anybody who's out there who has questions, please check out the armyemergencyrelief.org. You can find either one of those 70 locations. You can find out how to get that financial assistance if you're needing some help. It's a great resource. So thank you for being here and talking to us about AAR.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And again, if you need help, we urge you to go see one of our offices because, like I said, we are here to help. So please come see us.
Absolutely. Well, I'm Sarah Bumgardner, and that will wrap up our AAFMAA Live for today. If you would like more information about AAFMAA and financial readiness within the military community, you can subscribe right here to the QR code on the screen. Otherwise, I thank you for joining, and I hope you have a great day. Bye now.